What's going on, everyone? Today we're going to be reacting to K-pop group Tomorrow by Together, otherwise known as TXT. And this is a video that was recommended to me with two of their members, Soobin and Beomgyu. If you're new to my channel, my name is Max. I'm a communication skills coach. And what I do here on this channel is I look at all different types of people's communication skills and I give you my thoughts. I look forward to checking this one out. Here we go.
안녕하세요. Tomorrow by Together입니다.
뭐라 그러는 거죠? 앞에 그
Yeah, interesting how Beomgyu goes woo, and then right away Soobin goes woo. Maybe right away we're seeing signs of Soobin playing off Beomgyu's energy. So perhaps, you know, his energy, his outgoingness kind of lifts Soobin up.
TXT 이렇게 표현한 거예요.
이렇게 이렇게 TXT. 그러니까 원 드림 있는 것처럼
네.
이 세계관에서는 그렇게 인사를 할 수가 없어요.
안녕하실렵니까?
네. 안녕하실렵니까는 아니고요. 하시렵니까?
I guess he's in a different region of Korea.
하나, 둘, 셋.
인사드리겠습니다. 네, 인사드리겠습니다. 안녕하시렵니까? 주빈입니다. 범규입니다.
See, I think that's why a lot of people find Soobin endearing and likable. One of the reasons is because he's not like your typical extroverted, charismatic leader. In the classic sense of charisma. I'm not saying he's not charismatic. He is in his own way. And we see it right there, right? He was sort of like fumbling and he was like, You know, there's like this realness. There's a realness to that. You know, there's a realness to that. And seeing that, I find, is likable. And that, I think, probably contributes to his charm and his audience.
끝났죠?
네, 끝났죠.
네, 이제 뭐예요?
이제 콘서트 준비하고 있습니다.
네, 이번 주에 콘서트예요, 저희.
네,
제가 듣기로 월드 투어.
네 맞아요.
로 유랑악단처럼.
네, 맞아요.
맞죠.
무슨 삶일까? 어떤 느낌일까?
같이 이번에 해보실래요?
제가요?
네, 한번 체험하실래요?
I find Soobin to be like very kind, very polite, and very proper. I think Beomgyu is more likely to tease people that he doesn't know than Soobin. Like, I think Soobin like makes an effort to like really listen, and you can kind of see his eyebrows go up and his eyes widen, and he really makes an effort to like engage with you. I think he works on his listening skills. I think he works at being engaging. You know, when he's having a conversation, from what I've seen, it's more like he's curious. He wants to know more about you. Oh, tell me. Like, you can kind of see the interest on his face. Whether he puts it on a little or not, I'm not sure. I'm sure he is interested, but I think he might work on being even more animated to make the other person feel heard. Soobin lets you take the lead, and he makes it known that he's listening, but he is giving you the floor. He's giving you the stage to speak and express yourself and deliver your message. But I also just think he doesn't need to say anything and he's comfortable. He can just kind of sit there and smile and put you in the spotlight. He doesn't need to be in the spotlight, and he's totally comfortable with that. Yeah, they're just chilling.
범규 씨.
They're chilling.
범규 제가 사실 투바투는 알았지만 나오신다 그래가지고 조금 더 봤어요.
네.
그 전에도 뭐 이렇게 알고리즘.
저는 몰랐어요.
네?
투어투는 알았지만 저는 몰랐어요.
다 알았죠. 멤버분들도 다 아는데.
See what I was just saying before. Like, Beomgyu's more likely to, it feels like, initiate the teasing. Like, no problem for Beomgyu to say, "What, you haven't seen me before?"
이렇게 알고리즘.
저는 몰랐어요.
네?
And that's definitely a part of Beomgyu's nature that I've seen in the past, is just like kind of that playfulness. He seems like he's like maybe the most mischievous in the group from what I've seen. He's also got a real mature side to him as well, don't get me wrong. He's got a lot of different sides to him, it feels like, but definitely a playful side. There's no question about that, big time.
막 저음으로 노래 싹 하면서 표정까지 잘해요. 뭐 우리 멤버 다른 멤버들이 하면 안 된다 이런 건 아니지만.
그렇죠. 이렇게 들어가서 이렇게 나오는 CG가.
Exactly, Soobin was in his own world.
제가 지금 이 소리를 한 8번 들었나? 똑같은 멘트를 돌려막기를 그대로 어딜 가도 그냥
Soobin doesn't have to be polite for Beomgyu. Although they're in this show, the cameras are on them, they're doing an interview, Soobin's like, I've heard this before. Like, I don't need to pretend to listen to Beomgyu.
제가 지금 이 소리를 한 8번 들었나?
That's kind of the beauty of the cameras being second nature to these guys, that their real sides come out a lot. You know, we see like a realness to them often, and I think, you know, we caught Soobin in a real moment there, just kind of in his own world, enjoying his food, and just ignoring, you know, his buddy Beomgyu over here.
매니저님, 이기찬 선배님 노래 중에 시간은 모든 걸 잊혀지게 합니다. 하지만 사랑을 모든 걸 왜 이번 앨범은 왜 슈가러시 라이드로 지었어요?
왜냐면 저희도 이제 제목에 긴 거 말고도 뭐 루저 러버 해갖고 뭐 루저의 S는 달러 표시하고
맞아.
뭐
I like how this guy's not trying to be cool at all. You know, he doesn't act like he has his shit together at all. And I think maybe that's helping put the guys at ease a little bit. Like, they don't need to be perfect. They don't need to be on. Kind of helps them relax and loosen up as well. Soobin's on top of any questions, it feels like, that have to do with the group. So, like, the name of that album or any names of the songs. Like, he seems to really kind of take the initiative to speak on any group-related activities. And I think that's partly where we see a lot of that leadership come in. Very confident in speaking about and taking on that role in the group.
는 아닌데요? 근데 이기면 뭐 있나요?
이기면
이건 저희 챌린지 해주시면 안 돼요?
슈가러시 라이드?
네.
다 끝났는데.
그래도
아니면은 다음 컴백 때를 기약할까요?
그럴까요? 다음 컴백 때 한번 같이 찍어주실래요?
무조건요.
무조건요?
네.
대신에 하이브에 오셔야 돼요.
Beomgyu's very naturally charismatic. He's like a kid to me. I talk about, you know, your inner child and connecting with your younger self. I kind of get that vibe from Beomgyu. Yeah, he just seems like a free spirit. Like, he's not like restricting himself in terms of his expression in any way. There's a real lightness to Beomgyu. I love the way he expresses himself. I think for me, he might be my favorite guy to watch. You know, if you define who your bias is by who you feel like makes you smile the most, I think it might be Beomgyu for me. He's got like a real kind of free spirit type of energy to him.
수빈 씨 뭐 고민 없어요? 뭐.
저는 이거는 그냥 제 평생의 고민인데 제가 좀 낯가림이 많이 심해요. 그래서 아무래도 막 카메라 들어가고 있으면 생존형 외향성이 발동이 돼서 이제 말을 그래도 하는데
Again, this is interesting. My extroversion is activated. It's not necessarily natural to him, but he's gotten so used to the cameras being on that he's had to learn how to come out of his shell.
촬영 한 번 하고 이제 숙소 돌아가면 저 그냥
Yeah.
기절하거든요.
Takes a lot of energy. Like I suspected, it takes a lot of energy out of him. That's interesting to hear him say that.
낯가림을 좀 이렇게 없애고 싶다.
저는 이러고 집에 가면 죽어요.
분인가요?
죽어 있다가 이제 나와야 돼서 살아서 나오는 거지.
That's interesting, though. Okay, he wants to work on his shyness. You know, as long as it doesn't feel disingenuous to him, I think that's a good thing. The thing about Soobin, though, I will say, you know, he says he's shy, and I can see what he means by him being shy, but he's approachable, and he doesn't seem to be put off or uncomfortable when people do approach him. You know, you can maybe at times sense a little bit of shyness, but he's not dismissive of people. You know, he's with you. And he's listening, and he'll even ask questions, and he'll respond. He can converse well. But I wonder if it's like, if he feels uncomfortable being approached. It doesn't seem that way. But maybe that's part of what he wants to work on.
그게 이 사람이 그렇기 때문에 조심성이 있을 것이고, 그리고 뭔가 뭐 하나 행동을 해도 좀 더 생각을 하고 할 것이고, 그러니까 이런 신중함 같은 게 전 좋은 거지. 왜냐면 나도 그렇게 생각을 하고 살고 있으니까. 되게 매력적인 부분이라고 생각하면 좋을 것 같아요.
감사합니다.
Yeah, he's easy to be around, Soobin. You feel like you can say whatever you want in front of him. You know, you don't really feel like he's judgmental, kind. So he's got a certain presence about him that's very, very enjoyable to be around. It's like, that's where the charisma is. Like, you're drawn to be around that kind of presence because it's easy. He welcomes you. Like, it's endearing because there might be like a hint of shyness there, but it kind of makes you in a way feel comfortable. You're like, okay, I can kind of see a little bit of the shyness here. I can see that he's giving me the opportunity to speak. I can see that he's not like making me feel uncomfortable. So as a result, it's kind of nice being around him, right? We want to be around people who we feel comfortable with ultimately. Just naturally, Soobin makes you feel comfortable. But I think he's worked out a way to make you feel like you're the center of attention by the way he listens in this more animated way. There's just a lot of things going for him that makes him comfortable to be around.
최종 꿈이 뭐예요, 수빈 씨? 공식 질문이에요. 이거 무시해서는 안 돼.
저희가 첫 스타트를 끊는
처음 생긴 거예요. 다음에 없어질 거야 아마.
잘해야겠는데?
강아지랑 둘이 사는 게 꿈이다.
오.
그냥 그게 제 행복일 것 같아요, 저는.
강아지랑 둘이
네.
대저택에서.
Yeah, I love Soobin's answer. Very simple, very sincere. Hey, I'm happy if I live with a dog. Like, I think he's got his priorities straight. definitely, again, this plays into his humility. And you can already sense from him that he's not this sort of like guy who thrives off fancy things. You can just tell by the way he carries himself and by the way he dresses. Like, that's not his goal. His priorities are around just being happy, having his friends, having a dog around.
인디 음악 쪽으로 제
솔로 앨범.
목소리를 좀 낼 수 있는 날이 왔으면 좋겠고, 인생 목표는 이렇게 정원이 있는 카페를 차려가지고, 이 서울에도 안 살 거예요, 저는. 지방으로 내려가서 공기 좋은 곳에 작은 카페, 정원 있는 데 딱 차려놓고.
Although Beomgyu's technically introverted, maybe, according to MBTI at least,
TI가 혹시
저 INFJ.
he's not shy seeming at all. I think just comparing the two communication styles here, it feels a lot more natural, just with his gestures and speaking in this way that feels natural, it feels conversational. I think Soobin kind of like adopts more of like an MC type voice, more of like a presenter type voice, and it just seems like it's just more of a concerted effort for him to speak and communicate and deliver his message. Like, he's kind of worked at it. It might not come as naturally to him. And I think maybe that's where the energy suck in part comes from. Whereas with Beomgyu, it just feels natural. Like, this is how he'd speak to his friends in his living room. Whereas Soobin feels like, you know, he's just making a little bit more of an effort to put it on. And he's worked at it. That's what it feels like.
저 강아지 키울 거예요.
강아지예요?
골든 리트리버. 작은데.
범규 씨가 마지막에 꿨다는 그 인생의 꿈은 아마 이루어지지 않을 거예요.
Beomgyu was joking around about being Soobin's dog. Again, it's just like a different type of playfulness that is obviously more normal in Korean culture. It's interesting that they'll like get submissive for each other in a sense, because I see like ego sometimes getting in the way. I don't know this type of play very well, but I would think like if you're submissive to a degree, it would be difficult to do if you had an ego, because you're essentially saying, okay, I'm giving this person a certain amount of power over me or authority in some way. So I think with these two, not only does it feel like they don't really have big egos, Soobin especially, but they're so comfortable with each other, they can, you know, do this with each other and have these sort of like submissive and dominant roles and it not affect their friendship in any way, because they're on the same level, right? They've established that.
살짝 돌려. 자, 뭐 제가 좀 서브 좀 해줘요?
네.
도와줘요? 알겠습니다. 자, 하나, 둘, 셋.
안녕히 계십니까?
Yeah, I think part of it too, like you can tell when Soobin's enamored with you. Like Soobin likes a lot of people and it's obvious. It's like written on his face when he likes you, when he's charmed by you. And I think with Soobin, like just the way he listens and puts you first, makes you feel important. Again, that's just a likable quality. He's open to people. His instinct is to want to like you and to want to find like the goodness in you and the humor in you. So I think that's part of his draw and his appeal. And then Beomgyu's, again, like he's just this bright light. He's very much himself. He feels like a very natural kind of childlike energy. And, you know, he's not always looking at the interviewer and he's, you know, kind of just doing his thing. And again, it's just sort of a natural way of communicating. And we're seeing glimpses of his humor too. He likes to tease. So he's one of the more extroverted introverts that you see.
왜 안 해줘요?
예? 다 이렇게 해요.
Alright guys, if you want to watch my uncut reaction and analysis, along with all my exclusive TXT reactions, including my recent reaction to their new song with Anita, all you need to do is go to my Patreon page. I've included the link in my description below. Other than that, I appreciate you being here. Peace.